All right, welcome. In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can win your wife back even when you're working all by yourself. Yes, that's the goal. All right, so if you are watching this right now, your husband who feels desperate and alone, you're fighting for your marriage, but your wife is cold, distant, or maybe she has already walked out the door. You desperately want to win her back. I know the pain you're carrying, the anger, the rejection, the feeling of complete powerlessness. Here is the most painful truth you have to accept right now. Everything you've been doing to try and win her back is actually pushing her further away. I know that sounds contradictory, but chasing her with desperate calls, sending long, emotional texts, arguing or trying to convince her to remember the good times, that behavior is the sound of desperation. It only confirms her decision to leave. Or if you bring out the Bible and try to show to her that God hates divorce, you are only making it worse. Today, we're going to stop the chase. We are dismantling that cycle of pain. You see, the biggest lie you've been sold is that you need her permission or her immediate effort to start the turnaround. The truth is, change begins with the one person you can control, yourself. My promise to you today is simple. By the end of this session, you will have a clear, actionable roadmap, a three-step framework that allows you to change the marriage all by yourself. Yes, we're going to tackle the tough stuff. We're going to deal with the overwhelming anger you're feeling. We'll talk about how to pray effectively for your marriage. And most importantly, I'll show you how to start the quiet, genuine change that will ultimately draw your wife back. Yes, if you want a plan that actually works, stick around. This starts right now. But before we dive into the first step, let me know where you are joining in from. Drop your city or country in the comments right now in the chat. I want to see how far this message of hope is reaching. Yes. And listen, if you are ready to stop chasing and start leading the change in your marriage, do me a favor and hit the like button on this video. That tells YouTube this message needs to get out to more men who feels just like you do. All right, let's look at it. Who are you? Where are you from? Yes, thank you. Now, you see me look this way is because that's where my chat button, my chat is. I trying to make sure that I can see you and respond to you wherever you are. So I'll look away from time to time to see who is there. Alrighty. So let's get to it right away. First things first. There are three steps. And I told you in the introduction that everything you're currently doing to win your wife back is probably pushing her away. I want to explain why. Because when you understand the mechanics of this, you can stop this painful cycle immediately. It is called the pursuit and defense cycle, and you are caught in it. Before we talk about your mistakes, let's talk about her motivation. When a woman starts to pull away, ask for space, or even talk about divorce, the root reason is always the same. She no longer feels emotionally safe, and she believes she will be better off, safer, calmer, happier, alone. Yes, she's not doing it to hurt you. She's doing it to protect herself from what she perceives as a broken, unsafe environment. Yes, if you are getting me and you are live, let me know. Just send me an emoji, a fire emoji. I want to make sure that you are connecting with me as we are going on. All right. So let's continue with that. So she feels that she is in an unsafe environment, that it is better to be alone than to continue with you. The problem is the narrative. Every wife has an internal story about her husband. And right now, her narrative about you is broken. When she married you, the narrative was filled with hope, promise, and a great future. But over time, due to broken promises, forgotten commitments, or emotional neglect, the narrative became hopeless. Yes, she projects into the future, and what she says is a repeat of the pain. She doesn't know where this is going. Whenever she thinks about where you guys are going, she wonders if it's just going to be more and more pain, and so she's becoming hopeless. This narrative is a reality, whether or not you think it is fair, or whether or not it is true. This is what she believes, and that is what she sees. That's why she's saying, I don't want to do it anymore. That's why she's pulling away. Our goal in this live stream is to not argue with her narrative, the story she has in her head, but to completely change that story. Yes. And we don't do that by telling her that, look, I'm a changed man. I've decided to do the right things. No, we show it. We do it by showing her through consistent, genuine, and non-demanding action. The mistake most men make is rooted in a natural desire to fix the problem by chasing, complaining, and trying to convince. We men are wired that way. Something is broken, we try to fix it. Something is not working properly, we try to tweak it. And so, when your wife begins to pull away, begins to say, I need space, you can sense that the marriage is broken. And then you jump into fix it mode, and you start doing all of the chasing, all of the complaining, and all of the trying to convince, especially because you know that you were able to get her the first time and you want to use the same tools to get her this time. It doesn't work because the first time you tried to chase her, she didn't have anything in her head about you. And so the more you pursued her, the more she felt loved. But now the story is different. So we're going to break down all these three different mistakes. Mistake number one, chasing and pressuring. When a woman pulls away, her deepest need is usually safe space and safety. She wants safety, right? She is emotionally overwhelmed and her defense mechanism kicks in. That's when she begins to pull away. I don't feel safe here. So she begins to figure ways to make sure that she doesn't get hurt again and again and again. And what do men do to stop that? We push harder. We try to convince, we send texts, buy flowers, you cook for her, you follow her into the next room to force a conversation when she says she needs 5 minutes, track her movement. I remember a guy that put a tracker in his wife's car. Try to gauge her mood so you can adjust your own performance. Now, this doesn't work. Why? Because every desperate text, every uninvited presence, every time you push for a conversation or for a date when she had asked for space, it is chasing, and chasing validates her need for defense and makes you appear desperate. She believes that you're only doing this for yourself because you want something from her. You're confirming to her that you do not respect her emotional boundaries, which is exactly why she's pulling away in the first place. So the more you try to get her by being in her space, trying to convince her, trying to show her how much you love her, the more she feels that you don't respect her space. You don't respect her feelings. You are disregarding what she wants. So what do? You stop. Mistake number two, complaining and playing the victim. You start making changes, and that is great. Yes? You clean the garage, you stop drinking, you start praying, you start going to church, or you pray more, or you're more attentive to her. You think now of date nights. You finally feel like you've done enough to earn a favor. But then you begin to think, why don't you notice that I did the dishes? I did all these chores today. Why are you still cold? You begin to feel that and you say it and it doesn't work. Then she draws away because you're doing all these things and it doesn't seem to work. Why? Because you are asking her to give you credit for what you have done. You turn every good deed into a bargaining chip in your head. Maybe you don't say it to her, but because you're doing it in your head, she can feel it. Right? It drains her emotional energy and makes her feel responsible for managing your happiness. If you suddenly begin to feel down and feel deflated because you've done all these things and she's not responding, then she can sense it that you are trying to get her to respond, which is too heavy. This emotional burden is too heavy for your spouse, for her to carry. So you need to make sure that she believes that you're doing this for your own integrity as a man of God that you are, not for her appreciation, not for her applause. Mistake number 3, convincing with logic. This is the one that we make the most, because you assume that if I tell her all the things that she's going to lose as a result of what she's doing, she will change her mind. So you jump in and start talking to her about the children, about what God says in the word, about the finances, and try to remind her of all the good times that you had. But it doesn't work. Why? Because she's not leaving you because she forgot your wedding day or she forgot how much the kids love you. She is leaving because she doesn't feel safe, seen, or respected in the emotional environment of the marriage. Love is not a logic problem. It's an emotional safety problem. You're trying to get her to think when you should be trying to get her to feel. She needs to feel the change, not to be told about the change. When you chase, complain, and convince, she doesn't see a changed man. She sees a desperate man, a needy man, and she's trying to escape that. So you need to work on these 3 things. If you've made these mistakes, I'm going to show you how to turn that around. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. When you start trying to do nice things like leaving flowers or suddenly being helpful, she likely thinks one of two things. Number 1, it's too late. In her mind, she's saying, too late, too little, too late. The pain threshold was crossed months ago, sometimes years. And this time around, your surface level gestures don't fix the deep wounds that you've created. That's how she feels. Second way she may be thinking is that this is not real. She wonders why you are being so nice only now that she has withdrawn. Yes, she fears that if she rewards you with becoming nice to you, you will revert to your old unsafe self. She may intentionally stay withdrawn or even mean just to see if your new treatment is permanent. Your consistency is the only proof of that. If you can be consistent in these things that you're doing over time, then she may believe you. But right now, in her mind, she's saying the only reason why he's nice and kind is because I have withdrawn. And so you make her continue to withdraw because you're becoming nicer and nicer. We're going to solve all of this. The result is devastating. Yes, it feels very painful that you're working so hard. She has been complaining about these things. And now that you have made up your mind that you're going to change, she is becoming more hardened. Yes, these actions that you are doing, complaining, chasing her and trying to convince her, all of this are just making her believe that nothing has truly changed. She's pushing her further away, and you're now locked in this pursuit, which is what you're doing, and she's defend cycle. Pursuit and defense cycle. The shift that you have to make is you need to stop trying to change her behavior. Stop trying to change her behavior. Very important. It's the counterintuitive thing to do, but it is the wise things to do. It is how the Lord God Almighty does his things. You as a person, you were doing your stuff, working in your ignorance, and God just solved the problem and provided his love. You and I, we received it. This is the way of love. You stop trying to change her. Your new mission is to stop focusing on her action and start focusing on changing the environment, change the way the house works, the home is. Your goal is to make the emotional climate of your home safe and attractive to your wife. That's the only way to lower her guard. You create a space where she can freely express her thoughts, freely choose to withdraw from you, and not be punished for it, not be guilted for it. This is how you can let her begin to lower her guard. So how do you make that fundamental shift? We start with the man in the mirror. We start with you. And on the first step, the very first step. And that very first step is the inner work. So now there's a pre-step to the very first step, which is stop everything you're doing. Stop everything you're doing to try to get her to change. Stop it all. Everything. Zero. You do nothing to try to change her behavior. In fact, in your mind, you need to tell yourself that I'm going to let her do whatever she wants to do, feel however she wants to feel right now, because I'm going to work on something that is more permanent and more sustainable. All right? So, if you're trying to win your wife back, you probably feel like your identity is wrapped up in the marriage, right? You feel this marriage, if it breaks, it's going to be devastating to me. And a lot of people who are spiritual, who are people of faith, you feel that you have failed as a man. And a lot of men, we feel like that because you got this woman, you started a family with her, and you were trying to do something, and now it is being destroyed. All right? When the marriage struggles, you struggle. Your entire self-worth feels fragile. This is the opposite of the man your wife needs, and the opposite of the man God created you to be. You are not tied to your marriage. Your value is not in your marriage. Your value is in who God created you to be and designed you to be. And you need to focus on that truth. When you start focusing on that truth, something's going to begin to happen to you. And the question I will ask you right now, and you should ask yourself, is who are you without her approval? If she says, I don't like you, I don't trust you, I don't want to marry you, who are you? Let me check those who are live with me right now. God bless you wherever you are. Sorry you see me looking now. It's because that's where I look at my chart, right? So God bless you, and I hope this is blessing you so far. If it is, put that in the chat. I would like to connect with you. I'd like to see that. And you know, when you chart, when you put that in the chat, people, the system, the algorithm knows that something good is going on. And if something good is going on, they send it to more people. All right. So, and of course, if you are watching live and you have not yet subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do it. All right. So the question we stopped at before I checked in with you is, who are you without your wife's approval? If your wife says, I don't want to marry you anymore, I'm leaving you, and she actually does, who are you? You need to remember, you are a man of God. You are a person that God designed for a purpose, and you need to know that purpose. So let's talk about the anger that you feel because of all the things that have happened. Now, some people that I've talked to, they feel angry at themselves for destroying their marriage. Some feel angry at themselves that angry at their wife, that the wife complained and I made a lot of changes and she still doesn't see it, so they're angry. Other people are just angry at the whole situation, that it's so difficult. They're angry at God also. Now, why do you make this thing so hard, right? All of that, I want you to work on it, because if you ignore it, you're going to cause more problem. Anger is a natural response to feeling rejected and betrayed. But if you try to stuff that anger down, it turns into depression. And if you lash out, it makes her think that her decision to leave you was justified. So you have to redirect that energy. That's a beautiful part of what we're doing, because the first step or the pre-step is to stop all that working in your head. I want to change her, and you now redirect that energy to what? To change you. You redirect all the energy that you've been spending to buy her gift, make her food, wash her car, iron her clothes, and think about what she wants, what she doesn't want. You stop all of that. You turn the energy to yourself, to work on you. All right. So channel it to the productive areas of your life. Instead of blaming her, hit the gym. Instead of ruminating, invest in your career, invest in your call as a man of God, invest in studying, invest in praying, invest in reaching out to other people and be a blessing. Right? The goal is to shift from desperate dependency to secure purpose. So important. If you miss this out, you cannot get the result. And everything I'm going to say to you today, they build on each other. It's step by step. All of this is step by step. So the first layer that we're talking about is what I call clarity. You need to be clear. You need to be clear on who you are, what you bring into the marriage, and what God has called you to do in the marriage. It has to be very clear. So these are the things you work on. Now, in working on this, you need to also work on forgiveness, releasing all the negative feelings that are in your heart towards not just your wife, but every person in your life that has hurt you in the past that you're carrying. We need to learn how to release that. Why? Because those are the poison that destroyed your marriage in the first place, that brought you to where you are. When you guys first got together, everything was good. You got to release all of that. Right? And the final thing is the habits that you developed over the time to cope with the things that go on in life. We all learn those habits, whether to attack. So maybe you have been attacking your wife in the marriage. When she says something, you attack her. You speak loud, you increase your volume. Or maybe that's not the case. You always shut down. You just run away whenever she's not happy. You shut down. You stonewall. A man, husband told me that was my problem. I would just shut down. When she's complaining about one thing, I just shut down. I won't even answer her. I won't say anything. So after a while, the woman just got fed up, hurt, completely hurt. So you need to think about these habits and work on them. So that's what you do. And the first step, do not continue to chase. Do not do all of those things. Focus all that energy on the three things that I talked to you about. First, understanding that your life, your joy, your peace, everything depends on you. Take responsibility for that. Start working on who you are without your wife's approval. If she says this is not going on anymore, who are you? Work on that. And work on the negatives that you have piled on over years. Release them. Work on the habits that you have. Now, how to work on this is not within the scope of this video. They're all in all the other videos that I've been sharing, right? So let's work on that. Now, while you are doing this, there's something that you need to do. If your communication is toxic, you're always fighting, you need to reset all of that. So you need to work on actions rather than words, which means you reduce your communication with her. Don't talk too much. Talk when she talks to you, and keep it minimal, because you're trying to reset the communication. Keep it quiet. If she's quiet, be quiet. If she's talking and she wants to talk, engage. So you're going to withdraw your communication. You reduce it to the minimum if you're living together. If he doesn't leave, she has moved out, or she has decided to go stay with her family, whatever the case, then reduce the reaching out and sending texts over and over. Definitely no sending of texts. Right now, you're reducing communication. Why? Because you want to reset the way you communicate. You want it to be mutual. If she wants to talk, she's going to talk to you. Then you're going to respond, right? And then if after a while of you not responding, you may just initiate briefly and see if she's going to reciprocate. And if she doesn't, then you take a break, because you're trying to reset the communication. Be consistently calm, reliable, and contribute positively to the environment that you are sharing together. So when you're with the kids, be calm. When you're doing your chores, do it. When you're with finances, stand on your word and do what you need to do. No trying to punish or trying to cause confusion. So just do everything you need to do without expecting any praise or reward. All right. So now we're going to move from that. If you've been able to do those, the first step, you have a good foundation to build the next step on. Right. So there are 3 steps. 2 steps are on your own. And the last step is the one that you're going to do with her. All right. Let me check in before we move on to the second step with those who are with me. Yes. If you are getting this and it is making a lot of sense to you, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments. Also, if you're watching this on the replay, do not forget to type hashtag replay and reach out and say, I'm getting it. I'm getting it. Just watch it and be as if you are part of this live stream. All right. All right. Now let's go to the next step, which is building an unbreakable commitment to love. Unbreakable commitment, right? So this is about 100% commitment to the covenant that you have with your wife, not your current feelings. You're not committed to your feelings. Right now you may be feeling stretched, you may be feeling that it's not going to work, you may be feeling that she's giving up and she's going. Doesn't matter. You commit to your covenant and not to the outcome. This is where we confront the biggest accountability issue. Yes, manipulation versus true change. All right. So what do I mean by that? You'll be tempted if you start the process and you've done step 1. The more you work on yourself, you will start to see some real good changes. If you're in the gym, you begin to see yourself changing, your body changing, you're losing weight, you're becoming more confident, you're working, you're putting yourself, you're more energy in your work, your career. You may even get a promotion. All of this is happening. You may become tempted to try to manipulate your wife into making a decision, and you will destroy the work that you have been doing. All right. So you need to be honest with yourself. Are you doing this work? All of these things that you're doing right now, becoming more involved in the things, spiritual things, cleaning in the kitchen, being nice, being a stand-up dad, working with the children, and all of that, because you genuinely believe it is what God requires of you, or what God has called you to do, or you're doing it because you think, if I do all of this, my wife is going to feel this way and she'll come back. You need to be brutally honest with yourself. If your motivation is transactional, you're thinking, let me do this so that she can come back, she will sense it and she will reject it because you're trying to manipulate her. Even when you are not trying to do that, she will immediately assume that and she will instinctively test that. And most times I discover that when that happens, most men fail the test. Why? Because right now, they are still trying to manipulate. They're trying to get her. You got to stop all of this. So you got to pray and say, Lord, my goal is not really to change my wife's decision right now. My goal is for you to change me so much so that she cannot but decide to come back home. This is the goal. You need to, even in your prayer, you need to check, what am I really praying for? What am I hoping for? If you're still hoping for, I want to get my wife back, you're still stuck. You want to move from that mindset to, I want my life to be so transformed that she would be so blessed to see the transformation and she will want to be in that transformation. All right. So in this stage, what are you going to do? You're going to become honest with God in your place of prayer. Just telling God your feelings. If you feel really angry, frustrated, anytime, you be confessing it to God. And if you can, and if you're safe, you can write it in a journal. But what I will say, most importantly, is begin to confess all that to God and speak your heart to God. Rededicate your life to God. Whatever you know is wrong, stop it. Confess your sins to God. Repent of them. Not because your wife wants you to. You don't even need to tell her about it, but do it. right? You really radically go back to God in honesty. Be honest. All your failures, all your feelings, and each time as you are doing all of this, you'll be failing. There's no one that becomes perfect suddenly. And bring all those back to God and talk to God about it. And say, Lord, I failed here. I did this. I did that. And I receive your help. I receive your cleansing. This is what you do. How you change. And you begin to see yourself transform. And the last thing I want you to do on this level is to reinforce the fact that you are resetting your communication. So you treat your wife like you would treat a wonderful roommate. So this is when you pull back from all demands. You're not asking for sex. You're not asking for dates. You're not asking for anything that she's not initiating. You present a face that I'm ready whenever you're ready. If you want something, I will be there for you. But I'm not going to trouble you. I'm not going to try to make you do anything. And I'm going to wait for you to let me know how you feel so that I can do that. So at this level, because you're still working on what's going on in my mind, why am I doing this? So you work really hard on that. You still pull back on doing things or initiating stuff, trying to get activities going as if you are married. No, right now you treat her like a great roommate, which means whenever she does anything for you that is beyond what a good roommate would do, you will be appreciative of it. Anytime she shows any form of connection, you're going to be appreciative of it. And you will do your best, and you will not, this is not the time to start trying to do things as a husband or getting mad that you're not getting the things you're supposed to get as a husband. All right. So all that are off the table for now, just at this stage. Now, someone I was helping the other day asked me, so how long am I going to stay in this stage? For as long as it takes for her to begin to initiate stuff. And when she begins to initiate stuff, don't rush. A lot of people do rush into it. Don't rush. Follow the dance. As she moves, you move along with her at her pace. You work at her pace. If she's becoming more softer in her response to you, grow with it. Go with it. Take your time. If it takes you a year, one whole year, it's not the end of the world, because you're building something way more robust than what you had before. You're building something that when any other storm comes, your marriage will stand. All right. So invest in what it takes, the time that it takes to build this. But sometimes it just takes a few weeks. Sometimes a few weeks. All right. So get to that. So the three things you need to do in this level is become radically honest, so that you are telling the truth to God, to yourself, and to your spouse from time to time. If you just remember things that you said, things that you did that were wrong, you can say it to her. The second thing is a radical recommitment of your life to God and to the purpose for which He called you, right? And the third thing you want to do here is dealing with her peacefully. I call it peaceful cohabitation. Just dealing with her like a great roommate and being a blessing and being appreciative of everything that she's doing. And then we move to the third step. Let me see those who are live with me. If you are live with me, let me know that you are there. I see you. I see that some people are there, and I appreciate you. So good. If you can hear me, also, if you cannot hear me, let me know. I think if you could not hear me, you would not be here. So good. Let's go to the step number 3. This step number 3 is the step now that has to do more with her. So if you have been building this, the first layer, you built your own clarity, your own understanding of what you are here for and what God has called you into, and you are committed to it. You see yourself growing, you take responsibility for your own joy, your peace, and everything is good like that. Then the second step, you have built your commitment, you have strengthened your commitment, 100% commitment to your covenant that God called you to. You have made up your mind that even if this doesn't work, you're still going to be who God called you to be. Yes. And you have been honest to God, you're rededicated your life to God, and you're treating your wife like a roommate. Something will begin to happen, because she feels free. If she wants to be mean, you are still you. If she's nice, you are still you. If she does something good for you, you respond the same way. If she doesn't do it, you're not on her case and trying to control her. You reduce that, because the real thing that makes any marriage to break is because one person is so insecure that they try to control the other person. Their hearts are so hardened that they try to protect themselves by controlling the other person. And so once you're releasing all of this, she wants to get to know if it is real. All right, she wants to get to know if this is very real or you're just making it up. So she's open now to a little more connection. And you will discover that by sensing some of these things that I've talked about before. She becomes a little bit softer, and you can then initiate something, ask some beautiful questions to get to know her more. And once you start this process, this is the third step, where you're trying to rebuild the friendship that may have been lost. Questions that say, how are you doing today? And we don't just ask it like that. So you can ask small, with wisdom. I noticed you're a little bit happier today. How was work? What happened at work? And that's because you have been building. If she responds positively to that, and so, oh, the work was good today, I actually got this. She's responding to you. If she says it's okay and she shuts down, she leaves, it means you've tested the waters and you're not yet at this level. This level is called the connection level, where you're trying to build deeper friendship. Right? So you're beginning to learn to sow love. You're sowing love. That's what we talk about, sowing of love. Right? We implement it here. You sow love to reap love. In a marriage crisis, the love tank is empty for both of you. You're withholding love because you feel deprived, and she's withholding because she feels unsafe. So what you're going to do at this time is discover how to bless her, how to deposit into her love tank. All right? She's going to be appreciative of every deposit you make. Every deposit you make. All right? So this means you identify her true love languages and start depositing into those emotional banks without demanding reciprocity. You're not wanting her to do the same. You don't tell, you show her that she's safe, and don't wait for her to give you the lead. Okay, so what do you do here? Let's do some actionable steps. Now I've shown you the 3 steps. The first step is clarity, the second step is commitment, and the last step is connection. Right? The connection step has to do with her. So how do you show that in real life? So let's talk about financial integrity. Financial integrity. So if finances were an issue, you lead with commitment. In other words, everything that you are doing financially in the marriage, you continue to do. If there's any lapse that you can handle, you handle it as well. Right? Based on what you have promised to do before, you make sure that you hold up to your own part. Now, if finances was the problem she's complaining about, then you work towards a balance, a solution, right? And then, like I said, with communication, you reset it. It's very difficult to pull back from trying to control the communication, but you got to do that. Because if you don't do that, you're going to overwhelm her, and she's never going to see your true change. So in order for her to see that you're changing, you got to send this signal that I'm the man that loves you for who you are. Even if your choice is that you don't want to be with me, I'll still love you by letting you go. That's the message you want to send out. But what are you doing in the inside? You're spending time in prayer. You're resisting the plans of the enemy. You are praying that God should completely transform you and make you the kind of man that your wife will never think of leaving. You are also praying that the Lord will continue to bless her and strengthen her, and you're resisting the plans of the enemy against her. So you're doing all of this work internally. Those are the actual work you do. You're not sending her the fact that you're praying because you don't want her to applaud you. You're not looking for applaud. You're not looking for reaction. You're looking for her to be herself, to be free. This is what you're doing. It's very, very tempting to just want to show that I love you by you doing stuff. No, that's not what you're doing. Right now, because you are growing towards rebuilding that friendship, you want to focus on making small deposits in her love tank. Now, before I tell you a little bit more steps on really this connection level, what you do in connection, I want to share a little bit of how you know that it's time to go deeper, to go stronger in building this friendship. All right. So many men give up because they don't see the progress, right? They try for a while and they say there's no progress, and they give up. They look for the big conversations or the declaration of love. Please don't do that. Look for the subtle environmental shifts. Look for things that show to you that, yeah, it looks like this place is feeling free for her. Now, there may be ups and downs. You don't stop, right? So here are some things you know. The volume of arguments decrease. So if you're not arguing as much as you used to, then it's a good thing. Keep going. Or they end sooner. When you start to argue, they end sooner. Why? Because number one, you have made up your mind. Oh no, I'm not that man that likes to argue anymore. I'm going to slow it down. Right? Or you are no longer escalating them. You discover that when an argument starts, you are the one that stops it. That's a good thing. You are growing. And if you're growing and she's with you, there's hope. Okay? She stays in the room with you longer. Sometimes the wife is so upset that whenever you are with her in a room for 10-15 minutes, then she suddenly remembers she has something to do. She walks away. Yes, it can be that bad. And when it's that bad, and you started doing all this work, you reduce your communication, you're resetting everything, and she begins to stay longer and stay longer, it means she's feeling safer and safer. And that's a good thing. Even if she's not responding to you, you got to see the subtle changes so that you can keep going. You can keep going. Now, if you have any questions for me, please post them in the chat. I will be happy to answer them. If she becomes, her body language is less guarded, she begins to make eye contact with you. She begins to touch you from time to time and laugh sometimes. Then you see that there's something going on. She may still say, I don't want to join my finances with you. I don't want to go on a date with you. Maybe you asked for a date because you thought things were going. She says, no, I don't want to. It doesn't mean that she has made up her mind. It means that she's trying to check if she's safe with you. Right? She begins to accept your effort. She begins to say, okay, would you like me to make coffee for you? Yes, please, you can. When she's doing that, those are things that you need to see that, okay, there's progress, but doesn't mean you should do more of those. No, it doesn't mean you should do then excessive of those. Stay small and let her reciprocate some way. And then you can take it to the next level and just keep following her lead, right? So now, at this level of connection, if this dance continues to grow, and you're able to ask for the next level stuff, and then she responds the next level stuff, then you are blessed. Do not go ahead and initiate sexual intercourse at this time at all. Never. Don't do that. At this stage, you're going to wait patiently for her to come closer and do that. If you want to get your result fast. Now, if you've done that and it's resetting the whole thing, that's not the world. That's not the end of the world. You got so carried away and you thought she was good and you moved too fast. No problem. Just reset. You are a man of God. Remember that. You're solid. That's what you want to prove. You want to show that, look, I am a solid man. It's something I usually ask people to do when I'm working with them. It's what I call a covenant letter, where you write a letter to say to her, I'm here, not going anywhere, right? And if you do that, you can stick to that. Even when you fail, you go back to it. Look, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I may have failed in reading that you're ready or not, but I am here, right? So you keep working on that. This is when you now move on to building that relationship. How do you know when it's time to move? Just follow her lead. Once in a while, you can move it forward a bit, not too much, just a bit. See how she reacts. She reacts well, then follow her lead. It's just how you work. You work slowly but closely, and you build that friendship again. Then after friendship is being built, you start working on partnership. Things that you were doing together, you start doing more. Share your life with her. Share her life. get involved in her life. The most important thing is find out what she believes God is calling her to do. Begin to think, get to know her desires, her vision, what she hopes, what she's looking for in the future, and invest yourself in it. Invest yourself in her dreams. Invest yourself in her passions. Invest yourself. Now, even while you are working on your own, you can be researching the things that she likes. Not so that you can prove to her that you like that, but because you want to fall in love with her in a different way again, right? You do all of that work. It's a lot more work once the connection is growing, but it's fun work. Yeah, it's fun work. At first, when you're still building and trying to get the space safe, that's when it's not as easy, because we're talking about your wife here, someone that you have promised to be with, and now you've drawn back, you've gone backward to try and build up again. But it's worth the effort. It's worth the effort. So if you follow these steps, you're golden. Let me show you an image that would help you see what I've been saying in pictorial form. All right. So clarity level, you work on three things: your own joy, releasing the negative, that's forgiveness, and your habits, how you have been reacting when you don't feel loved. How do you react when you feel disrespected, rejected, misjudged, right? All of those things, you're going to talk about them, work on them with you, not talk to her about them, work on them. And then the next step is the commitment level, where you remove the mask, you become as honest with God and yourself as possible. Who am I? And all of that. You commit yourself to God properly and totally, and then treat her like a good roommate. I mean, in other words, you're kind, you're nice, but you're not expecting anything from her. You have zero expectation from her as a spouse. No, just as a normal person, a believer. Then the connection level, you rebuild friendship, and you then after that you work on partnership, doing things together, and then it's only after that you can then work on intimacy, spirit, soul, and body. These steps, if you follow them, you are going to be amazed at what God can do with you. Of course, all of this is powered by prayer. All of this is powered by prayer. And there's nothing impossible for anyone that believes. And when you pray, you're releasing God's power. And when you love, you're releasing God's power. So that's a double whammy for love. And many marriages have been transformed. I've seen marriages change, all kinds of marriages. Marriages where even the wife has cheated on the husband has cheated on the wife, they've been separated, planning a divorce. All of that changes when we follow this step, from both the women and the men. Now, of course, what I've just discussed is for the men. There are ways that a woman can do the same. It's the same process, but not exactly the same, because men they're not looking for safety the way the women look for and want safety emotionally. Men look for respect. Men look for value. Men look for understanding that I bring something to the table. So that we can train a woman to change her marriage too. All right. So very good, very good. I hope this is helping you so far. Now I want to take questions. Let me see in the chat who is there. I want to take questions. If you have any questions for me, I'll be happy to answer that. And if you want, maybe you have been thinking about all these things I'm saying, and you're ready to stop guessing, right? You're ready to get a clear personalized roadmap that tells you exactly how to apply these 3 steps in your own marriage situation. If you need to know exactly what your wife's love language is, and you need a step-by-step plan, then you can book a clarity call with me. Just let me get on the call with you and look at what we need to tweak for you and how we can work together to get you the result faster. If you're interested in that, then you can go to the description of this video and click on the link there and book a call. I'll sit with you, listen to what you have to do, and share with you these steps, but apply to your own particular marriage. And if you want to work with me and you want us to work together, that would be great. I'll be happy to work with you. And if you just want even more resources, you can go to the link also. There's a friendship rebuilding worksheet, cheat sheet that I have there that you can also download. I think I have another one that actually gives you warfare prayer points. It's not in the link, but I'm going to put it on. Warfare prayer points that you can pray for your marriage to transform it. So if any of these things sounds like what you want, then I will be happy to serve you with them. All right, I'll be happy to serve you with this, and I'll be happy to see you become one of those who will say, I got my wife back and I got a marriage that is stronger, more powerful, more robust than the one that I lost. All right. Okay, good. Now, if there is any other question, I would like to answer them. If anybody has a question right now, I will be very happy to answer your question. Praise be to God. Hallelujah. All right. Okay, if there's none, we're going to wrap it up there with prayer. Father, I thank you. I thank you for everyone who has joined me live and those who are going to catch this on the replay. Lord, let marriages be restored. Let men who are called by your name everywhere stand up and allow you to love through them. For those who know that one thing or the other went wrong and they have changed it, we thank you. But for those who have been in the right space but their wives just got disconnected, we also receive the grace to get this restored. We stand against every plan of the enemy, every work of the evil one to destroy these marriages. I declare that none of that will prosper. Only your will stand. Yes, may your power be released upon every marriage represented. Every marriage, may your power be released to bring healing where there has been hurt, to bring strength where there has been weakness, to bring joy where there has been sorrow and pain, to bring hope where there has been hopelessness. Lord, healing, spirit, soul, and body for all of my brothers and sisters, especially my brothers who are saying today, I want to win my wife back. May each one have a testimony. In the name of Jesus. Amen. Yes, the Lord bless you. I'm so glad that we are able to do this. I look forward to the next time I come online to share. All right. Next Monday, we'll be here again discussing another topic. Maybe we'll be working on that for the women. All right. Bye for now.